Let's fucking go.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I'm here to talk about how Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios is bringing back old Marvel television. Now, as some of you have maybe heard whispers of, there has been reports by multiple people, both Jeff Snyder and I think the Hollywood, either Empire or Hollywood Reporter or one of the big article companies had a whole article come out on Kevin Feige and the struggles that he had while making the, phases 4 and 5 and how certain things didn't go. And there was a lot of things in that article about how, like, the struggles of just overload of just, because, I talked about it before, that it kind of came out that Bob Chapek had pretty much put a mandate on Marvel Studios in particular to produce as much content as possible for Disney Plus, because at the time COVID had hit, we didn't know how long that was going to last. All of Disney's other avenues of money were down. So basically all Disney had was Disney Plus to rely on for financial stability, and the MCU had become the biggest, and it still is to a certain extent, the biggest franchise in the world, making billion-dollar movie after billion-dollar movie. So Bob Chapek told them to turn it up. He wanted them to produce more content, and Kevin Feige, quote-unquote, in this article, essentially went along with it because he was like, all right, because he went along with it for two reasons. One, he saw it as an opportunity to tell more stories that he couldn't tell before on a bigger screen, like to introduce characters he didn't feel comfortable introducing in a movie, but he wanted to introduce them. He wanted to tell a story with those characters, but he didn't feel comfortable introducing them for a $200 million film. Also, because he wanted to be, as in the article, a good, what did he say, corporate worker or something like that? What is it, like corporate synergy or something along the line? He wanted to get along with the new boss, basically. And he didn't want to ruffle any feathers. He was like, okay, I'll go along with it. But as a result of that, it led to him being stretched too thin, things that we've talked about many times before. It led to projects and ideas because in the past, like, some people think Marvel Studios, the original MCU, like phases 1, 2, and 3, were these well thought out, well planned concepts. If you ever go back and look at Kevin Feige in the older videos, especially the lead up to Avengers Endgame, him talking about the MCU and him talking about how it got to where it got. It's a lot of him saying multiple times, like, we just wanted to make a good movie, and then we would look, and then we, generally speaking, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios had an idea of the direction they wanted to go, and they're like, this is where we want to go, but the individual movies is like, okay, this is how we should get there, and Kevin Feige would be on set on every film, looking at them, giving notes, and being like, okay, all right, this is where we're going in this next movie, so maybe you should do this. So Kevin Feige would work hand in hand with the director directly. That pissed a lot of people off at the time. People forgot about that, but I digress. We're not here to talk about the amnesia people have about the criticism they had of the MCU all the way up till phases 4 and 5. But Kevin Feige was more hands-on on guiding the process, on guiding the storylines and guiding things to smoothly transition from movie to movie. But phases 4 and 5, since he started producing so many shows, so many movies, specials, like 4 or 5 movies, 4 or 5 shows, the numbers got outrageous. I don't know if you guys remember, at a certain point it's supposed to be like 10 Marvel projects a year, and he could not be hands-on on all these things. And in the article it even says that they couldn't get him to check the projects to okay shit. So by the time he got around to looking at shit and being like, oh, I don't like the way this is going, it was too late. Long story short, Kevin Feige, the process and the direction it was just too much Marvel, and it overloaded the audiences. That's one of the things audiences talk about, is it overloaded the audiences. It made the audiences feel like they have to see everything which then made the audiences feel weird because they feel like they got to see everything. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. While me and many others have enjoyed a lot of Marvel television, we can talk about the bad ones. What If Season 3, Secret Invasion, those shows most of Echo. Like there were some bad shows, but for the most part, I think we thought it was pretty good. I think we thought it turned out pretty good for the most part, anyways. Shows like I say, shows like WandaVision, shows like Loki. I even think Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Shows like Daredevil, like those shows like Agatha All Along, shows like Miss Marvel. There were more hits than misses with the Disney Plus show. There were some shows that weren't as good as they could have been. Moon Knight wasn't as good as it could have been. I don't think Falcon and the Winter Soldier was as good as it could have been. I don't there are some shows that did not live up to their billing, but for the most part, most of the shows were well received and well regarded. But the thing is, they were so fucking expensive. They were so fucking expensive. I mean, each show, people forget it at the time, was $150 million for 6 episodes. Put it in perspective, most shows, like most of the Marvel shows, like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and all that, those shows weren't even $100 million max. Like, overall. Like, them shows were like, I don't know, like 60 million, something like that. Like, the budget for these Disney Plus shows, and the idea was, and I remember when it came out, the concept was, these shows are gonna be blockbusters. These shows are gonna be the blockbusters. These shows are gonna be as big as the movies. It'll be almost like you're watching the MCU on television. And at the time, I loved it. I enjoyed it. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier sequence at the beginning was straight out of a movie. There's sequences in Loki that feel like they were from a movie. There's sequences in Hawkeye that feel like they're from a movie. Like, there was such a cinematic idea, and I love the concept. But unfortunately, due to overload, not just overload, due to COVID and other various things, it ended up overloading the audience. It ended up just overbearing the audience. So now the new direction Marvel is basically going to go in is pretty much these few things. 1, more episodes. So no more 6-episode format. Ironheart will be the last MCU show or Marvel show that has the 6-episode format. So that's gone. Smaller budget. None of these shows will be $150 million going forward. I honestly doubt that they're gonna let Daredevil go over $100 million. Daredevil will probably be like $80 or $90 million tops. It will be high end for a show, but it won't be movie money. They're not gonna invest movie money into these shows. So more episodes, less money invested into the shows. Also, more seasons. So when a show is successful, it's gonna be about more seasons and less shows. So instead of it being like 4 Marvel shows coming out a year, it'll probably be 2 or 3 shows. One of those shows will be a season 2 of another series, or maybe both of those shows will be a season 2. They might introduce a one-off new character or a new show, but once again, there won't be a lot of new characters introduced. It won't be like a lot of new shows coming out. It's gonna be like season 2 the shows that work, and occasionally a new show. Like, it's gonna be like regular television, dude. It's gonna be like it's gonna be very similar to like the CW in a way. The CW superheroes in a way, in terms of the layout of how they release the shows now. So it's gonna be less shows, more seasons, more episodes, smaller budgets. Also, it's gonna be less important to the MCU overall. Like, it is being made abundantly clear, and Jeff Snyder was talking about this, Vision Quest will be the last time that a comic book a character from the movies appears in any of the Disney Plus Marvel shows going forward. Like, from here on out, after Vision Quest, all the Disney Plus shows will be about either new characters they introduce and who are smaller, so like they don't have to really talk about, I'm thinking about your power packs and like things of that nature, like smaller characters, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a smaller character that they can make like a show about, like your Kazar or something like that. It'll be about like smaller characters who really have no effect. Their budget. They can make a show about them. They can do it. It's within the budget. They can give the people more, which the funny thing is, I'm saying all these things, but it will lead to a little bit more leeway with how writers and people work on these projects, because now these projects are less important to the bigger MCU. Now these projects are just like, they're in the MCU, but they're so unimportant. They're just like, I don't know, like lore content. Like they're like small little pieces of work that are just happening within the context of the MCU. Though, as bad as that sounds, and I am actually sad about that, I actually like the idea of introducing characters and having them show up in the movies, which Just Not or No One has counted out happening, but you won't see the reciprocation. You're not gonna see Spider-Man show up in Daredevil. You're not gonna see these things happen again. And one part of me is sad about it, another part of me isn't. Also, it's been heavily indicated, because it came out not that long ago, that Jeremy Renner turned down a deal to do Hawkeye Season 2 because, as he said in his own words, they offered him half the money to do the show. And it's heavily indicated that this new rhetoric, this new mandate of like not having any of the movie characters in the shows is sort of responsible for that, because apparently they had guaranteed, well, in the contracts, that Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner are supposed to come back for a Hawkeye Season 2, but they don't want to do Hawkeye Season 2, so the only way they can get around not doing it is for Jeremy Renner himself not to want to do it. That's what I'm hearing. We don't know if that's true or not, but it would be an explanation. As some people have said, and even I have, and even I kind of understood this, that having the movie characters be in shows, even in the best case scenario, that all the shows were great in movie quality, it would take away a bit from the movies, because if you could get movie quality at home, why would you go to the movies? And Kevin Feige and the others at Marvel Studios think that the reason that the movies are struggling, well, one of the reasons that the movies are struggling, at least one of the main reasons, is that is because of the shows. It's because people feel like they have to watch that too. People feel like they can wait. But it's like, if you can't see the bigger story, if you can only see the bigger plot, the bigger story on the big screen, it will push people to go to movies more to see the movie. And I actually agree with that. That's probably what is gonna happen after this new, after the Avengers and Avengers Secret Wars, and it's gonna lead, hopefully, if they nail Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, it's gonna reinvigorate everything anyways. Everyone's gonna be more excited. So then when they kind of announced that you don't have to watch any of the Marvel Disney Plus shows, now Disney Plus is probably gonna take a hit from this, but Marvel movies will probably have an uptick. But yeah, we're going back to the old model of doing Marvel television, with there being this separation between the two. Which, to be fair, it should be better now, because instead of Kevin Feige beefing with the last guy, Jeff Loeb, who was running Marvel Studios, he actually is hiring the guy who's going to run Marvel television. So there should be a little bit more synergy there. But anyways, thank you guys for watching the Comic Guy Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe and comment below. What do you guys think of the new Marvel television, or as I said, old Marvel Marvel television coming back? Comment below and let me know. Thank you guys again. See you on the next one. Peace.